Hi, welcome. Focused Reality here. Welcome back to Your Dry Delight. Vache, Enchanté, I don't know. I'm sorry if I'm kind of quiet right now because it's like 8 and my family is still sleeping, so I don't know how thin these walls are. So last we left off, Mayor. Mayor. Oh god, you know? Wait. This one. Let's load this one. Okay. Last we left off, this happened. This. He knows our name. He knows who we are. And he is a leader of a mafia gang or whatever. The Jewish mafia, I think. Right? Yeah, Jewish. So, oh god, you know? Don't you agree, Richard? What? How do you? Smugly lifts the cake bag, wrestling it before my face. Your name is on the label. A mistake I wouldn't expect from you. If you'll pardon my rudeness, were you distracted at the time you purchased it? Not about to mention how I was daydreaming about him when I bought a cake. I think I'd rather just let my professional pride take the fall. Of course, I know you're a detective too, and I can guess why you're here. Oh god. Wow. That was really loud, and I have no idea what that was. So, oof. But please, don't take it as a blow to your acting skills. I'm just well acquainted with the number of professional liars, you see. If you already know so much about me, why are you pouring me drinks rather than having me shot or dumped in an alley? Mayor clicks his tongue. Ooh. Lightly wagging a finger at me. Violence is not how I prefer to do business, Richard. It's only a temporary solution. Violence begets violence, which is why you have warring Italian crime families rather than consolidate powerful body. Now, in most circumstances, I would much rather make friends than enemies. Friends like you, which is why you're not being dumped in an alley. Ooh. Though I would never harm a Cheyenne Panim like you, no matter what my moral code was. Pretty face. Aw. He shifts in the sofa again, this time letting his leg stay resting against my own. Ooh. I had to search there for a moment. Sorry. I swallow, relieved at Mayor's explanation, but acutely aware of his face being a few more inches to my right. You certainly aren't like any other guy I've met, law-abiding or otherwise. Why don't you tell me about what it's like? being in this risky business. I clumsily attempt to slide the conversation into another direction, daring the glance over at Mayor. No, please. I know a one-sided agreement when I see one. That is terrifying. What is happening outside that door? Jesus. Whatever. I have a fluffy pillow with me. Everything is okay. With the gloating air of someone who just caught their opponent cheating, Mayor shakes his head. I'll answer a few questions of yours, but only on the condition I ask questions of my own. I swear on my honor to answer with the truth, and you'll do the same. But we can't avoid it one question in exchange for a favor. Does that strike you as fair? His tone completely rises, casually rises in the end, not so subtly daring me to accept. I'm dying. I think I'd rather be an idiot to expect a businessman like yourself to be fair, but alright, I'll bite. That's what I like to hear. Mayor gives me a rakish, teasing grin, all so pleased with my reply. As a gesture of goodwill, I'll even let you start. Really? How do you make any money with that kind of generosity? You'd be surprised. As Mayor chuckles to himself, I pause and ponder on just what to ask. What do I most want to know about? Ooh. Let me just jazz out to this piano music. Ask about his history. Tell me about your background, your history. What's it like for you growing up? My question seems to catch Mayor off guard, but his surprise quickly shifts into a gentle, pleased expression, and he nods in acknowledgement. I was raised in a little Jewish. I was raised in a cozy little Jewish community in Missouri, where I lived until a few years ago. I'm sure you'll find this hard to believe, but I've always kept to myself as a boy. I rarely spoke to anyone. I suppose you could say I was afraid of rejection. Our Rebbe was my closest friend. He ate corned beef sandwiches and talked about baseball on the weekends. Looking back now, I think he was just as lonely as I. He chuckled softly, gaze flicking down at the coffee on the table, lingering on his cup. Can't imagine Mayor ever being withdrawn. I guess he didn't develop his charisma till later. Several days after my bar mitzvah, a few boys who I had never seen before approached me on the street. Mayor, they said, you're a tall, strong guy. Why the hell are you playing in with the Rebbe instead of making money? I realized I didn't have much of an answer. We formed a merry little crew. It was enjoyable to have that kind of attention from my peers, and my desire to fit in was why began doing jobs with them. Eventually, my name garnered. Eventually, my name garnered a certain reputation. With association grew. The association grew. People started looking up to me, and somehow I ended up on top of all of it. Of it all. Whatever. Mary's eyes returned to me. I can't really read the true emotion behind them. Nostalgia, regret, or satisfaction. The Rebbe, you know whatever happened to him? We don't speak anymore. He gives me one of those brief, thin-lipped smiles, the kind you only show to be polite. Again, it's hard to see through what it means, but I detect a little longing in his voice. You know, I'd always separated mobsters from real people in my head. Like you were all just monsters who'd lost humanity. Listening to you talk, I guess it makes me realize how we're not so different after all. I twirl my glass in my fingers, unsure of how to acknowledge what makes me more happy or grim. Mira studies me in silence for a little while. It's not an awkward silence, just a thoughtful one. Well, your turn. For a question. You have one? I have many. When the silence finally breaks, Mary gives me a wary grin, his eyes momentarily flicking down to my mouth. I wonder what that means. Yeah, I'm listening. Alright, what's your greatest fear? My greatest fear? He nods, watching me expectantly. No immediate answer pops into my head, so I mull over the question for a moment. My greatest fear? Something that would keep me from sleeping at night. Hurting innocent people? Oh? I nod, forcing a brief, awkward smile as I take another sip of my drink. Mara doesn't add anything further, though. Is he waiting for me to elaborate? I just think it's my duty, well, the duty of someone in law enforcement, to make sure Americans are safe and happy. That's why we exist. It's not just a job you do for money. It's a job that lets you go home feeling better about the world, even if it's just a little bit. Mayor tilts his head a little to the side, eyes glimmering at me. Then his hand slips onto my shoulder, resting there gently for a few seconds before squeezing it. And very admirable, Richard. Although, I have to wonder just where Volstead fits into that. He trails off curiously. Is he trying to lead me somewhere with that vague comment? Well, it's your turn, isn't it? Why don't you ask me something lighthearted? I don't want if you get more personal. Oh my gosh. He leans in a little more, hand still lingering on my shoulder. I can smell his light cologne and the subtle, earthy scent of coffee. I've been trying desperately to keep my nerves under control, but it's getting harder and harder the more the mayor teases me into my personal sweets. I feel ya. We're going on this path, so I'm gonna go full throttle on this path, okay? I think I would actually ask this in real life. Like, if I was richer, then do you have a lover? Do you have a lover, wife? You must, right? Being the cat's meow and all. No. Mira responds casually, offering a little shrug as she should glance over at him. Is it in my imagination, or does he look incredibly smug right now? I'm so uncomfortable right now. Yeah, okay. Why are you wearing that expression? Are you so very surprised, or you're relieved? Maybe you're relieved? No, just surprised is all. I really don't think you'd still be a bachelor. Oh, and why is that? Because I'm the cat's meow. Oh, I love this man. Can we just get on with the next question? Pausing, Mir makes a show of tapping a finger against his bottom left, turning his eyes towards the ceiling. It's such an obvious display of what I know for a fact he's already got a question picked out, and he's just toying with me. I drain the last of my glass and attempt to act casual, turning my head away slightly. I've got one. What memory do you have of your first kiss? Please describe in great detail. Yes. I nearly choke on my drink. So this is what he's planning on all along? Listen very attentively. Oh, hold on. Damn it. I know this is what he wants me to say, but it'll be a cold day in hell before I tell this guy I've never properly kissed anyone before. Can I just trade the favor? Oh. No, don't fake your surprise, you bastard. In that case, I suppose I'll take you up on that favor right now. I reflexively squeeze my eyes shut, sucking in a breath. Feels like my chest is about to explode. Richard? What are you doing? I reopen one eye to see Mayor staring at me quizzically. I thought No, of course he wouldn't. He's too much of a gentleman. I just a little dizzy from the drink. So, what do you want from me? For the favor? Well, you're probably thinking me as a fool for saying this, but... Reaching into the bag at his right, Mayor lifts it up and sighs happily, slipping his hand inside to unwrap the cake. I'd like you to share it with me. Share the cake. He nods, pulling back the paper wrapping to reveal a delicious-looking, spongy white dessert. I'd feel guilty enjoying it myself, especially considering you bought it for me. So I prefer we savor it together. Does that sound agreeable? I haven't had such a thing since lunch, So you're asking the right thing. I haven't had such a thing since lunch. So you're asking the right guy. Should we just cut it in half? Or what? No. You're going to feed it to me. And that's where I'm going to stop. So, let's just exit to the menu and so that's the end of this episode. I hope you guys have a good day or night wherever you are. And bye.